I built this video with one single purpose, and it's to be your one and only stop to know everything about sharpening your hunting knives. A knife that will perform the entire hunting season. Hi everyone, Adrian here, welcome to Bush and Grit. Are you sharpening your hunting knives to their full potential? Are you able to field dress a moose, a bear, an elk without the need to resharpen your knives? The struggle is real, so are the solutions, and this video is dedicated to how to sharpen, how to get the maximum potential out of your hunting knives. This video is highly concentrated in best practice, no nonsensical approach to sharpening hunting knives that will perform the entire season. So first we'll cover the theory, we're also going to cover the gear, and then we'll put all this into practice. Let's cut to the chase. Let's start. So the theory, I know theory is boring, so I'll try to make it snappy. The first thing about hunting knives is they're not Japanese knives, they're not your typical home knives. On the topic of angle, a very low angle, let's say 10, this will give you the best sharpness, all right? But edge retention will suffer. You can go to 17. This is going to be a nice balance between edge retention and sharpness. And you can go to 20, which will give you the best edge retention, but your sharpness will suffer a little. It's just that your edge will last longer. Hence, you'll be able to completely field dress one deer, two deer, without the need to actually resharpen. Another thing I'd like to point out is proper way for an edge to get dull is not by bending, okay? You don't want, if your edge are bending on one side, or if your knives is chipping away, you have two issues. So in this instance here, it's because your steel is too soft. In a harder steel, what is going to happen is the example here. So if this is your knife, the hard carbon, hard steel will chip away, and you will lose your cutting edge also in that fashion. The proper way for an edge to wear down is by erosion, okay? You want your the tip to actually get rounder. So if this is how you're losing an edge, you have a good angle and you have a nice steel to work, and you're asking your knife to do the proper task it's been designed for. Theory about sharpening, we know that we are cutting metal to restore the apex. As you grind the knife on a whetstone, you will have a burr that forms on one side because you're eating away this side here. So you're actually pushing the metal, and with your finger you can actually feel that burr. So the burr is your friend, okay, until it's not. Meaning we work first to get the burr, and then at a second pass we work to remove the burr. And removing that burr is where a lot of people actually fail. And you can work your knife, you have a nice burr, then you work the other side, you manage to straighten the burr, so you still have a burr, and you think you're done. You pull out a sheet of paper and you slice it and you say, yes, it's super sharp because you've been able to cut the paper. But yes, the problem is you did not cut the paper with the apex. You cut the paper with the burr, and that burr is not durable. As soon as you start field dressing out the moose, that burr will fold on one side and you will lose the sharpness. But if you do it properly, if you're able to manage to completely remove that burr, work with that apex behind a thick 20 degrees, 17 degrees material, that edge gonna work and work and work. And by the time it's wear down, you'll be able to process 1-2 deer easily. So let's get into the type of gear that we need to get you here. So what do you need? You need a sharpening stone. Here I'm using a 220 and a 1000 grit, so it's like 2 stones in one. You need a stone cleaner to remove excess material or to flatten your stone, and you can also get a different one like this, and those are actually quite super aggressive and you can flatten out your stone easily. I have my old stones here, this one chipped, broken, but see how dirty is this? Before you sharpen, you need to clean that using this type of stone. I have a new one just received, so we're gonna work with the new one. The other thing also I want to suggest is when you're buying your stone off Amazon, be careful because not all stones are equal. You know, the sharpening knives business is cutthroat. And some people will sell you anything to make you believe that you have the real deal, but it's not. Like this one here, it's rated at 8,000, 3,000 grit because I wanted something for my Japanese knife. But when I open the package, it's clearly not 3,800, 3,000 and 8,000. And also look at how, I still use it. Yes, it still works, but it wasn't the grit that I wanted. Look here also how it's used. And this stone here is overdue with actually flattening. So like I'll need to use my flattening stone here to bring back the flatness of this whetstone. On the microscope here, what we're going to be working today with, if I can take a video, all right, I can show you the edge of that knife. Bring that into focus. So here you see it's actually chipping, and this is due to me splitting lugs with this knife, and I put it through a heavy use, and yeah, here chipping, a little bit of rolling as well, but not so much, but it's mostly chipping. And the tip. So using a microscope, I'm going to show you the burr, I'm going to show you how we remove it, and when we're done. All right, we're ready for the practice. Some whetstones are splash and go, meaning you just, put your stone, you put some water on them, and you're ready to go. And some of the stone requires to be actually submerged in water for a couple of minutes, for 15 to 30 minutes. So we'll do that here. Normally you should see bubble coming out of the stone as the stone is actually absorbing the water. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is in the equipment department, in the gear department, you will need like a stropping leather on the wood block and some stropping compound, all right? But anyway, we'll get to that later. The main thing I really love, and I recommend these type of knives for beginner, is the Scandi grind, okay? So you'll see that the knife is fairly squared, and it has a bevel on each side to make the apex. And once your Scandi grind is at the angle that you need, it's very easy to find the angle, okay? Because this is like flat, and you just need to angle the knife to reach the actual angle that you want. So this is really easy, in my opinion, for beginners. There are two types of strokes. You have the trailing edge and you have the leading edge. And I prefer trailing edge overall when you want to just maintain the edge. But here, because I have so much material to remove, I'll do a combination of both trailing and leading edge. So I'm going to put some water here. I put the knife flat on my stone. I find my angle. And I like to keep my finger close to the edge, and with a moderate pressure, I would say 4 to 6 pounds, I'll go back and forth. And as I reach the tip, you'll think that I'm actually raising the angle, but I won't. I'm not. It's just how, at the tip of the angle, you have to just angle a little bit more to reach that part here. So it's basically the same angle. Super important. I'll be blunt with you folks, angle is extremely important, and be consistent with that angle is of utmost importance. So let's start the sharpening step by step, one slice at a time. And my primary goal here is to form a burr on this side. Yeah, all right. Let's take a look at the microscope and see what we got. So here you can see the burr that is starting to form, that dark line there. This is the burr. I'm not done yet. I still have chip part. So this is going to take a lot of grinding, but we'll get to it. So at this point here, now I have a very nice big burr. You can see it here. The hair are from my rags, so ignore that. I still have a little bit of a chip here. You can see it. Here, look at that. This is beautiful. This is like a thick burr. And this is what we want so far. So I have that burr all here. It's a bit thinner, but it's there. Maybe I can bring a little bit more burr on this side here on the end near the heel. This is where we are. We have a very nice burr here, super thick. The main chip that was here is long gone. There is a micro chip somewhere here, I don't remember, but I'm not seeing it. Maybe, no, it's not this. This is too far, so it's probably gone. So we're done on one side. On the same grit stone, we need to do the other side now. And what's gonna happen to that burr is we're going to straighten out that burr. It's probably, I'm gonna do it enough to flip it back on the other side, but then at some point I will alternate to straighten up the burr so it's not folded on one side or the other, and then we'll move on a higher grit stone. And one thing here is I'm noticing as I'm doing it, I feel that I'm giving a little bit more pressure on my trailing stroke, and I'm lighting up the pressure on my heading stroke. Okay, so this is light, this is heavier, light, heavier. This side. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna alternate just to straighten up. So here, this is where we're at. So as you can see, it's much cleaner than when we started. The black line is almost gone. At this point, we're ready to move to the higher grit stone. So I'm gonna flip the stone. And from here on out, it's just going to be trailing edge. Stroke, trailing stroke. So now I have a tiny burr on this side. So it's essentially what we did the previous step, but at a lower grit, at a higher grit, sorry. And here the knife is really smooth. It's no longer coarse. And I have a micro burr here now forming on this side. What I want is I want to feel the same consistent burr from the tip of the head, from the tip of the knife to the heel. Some people will always stroke from the tip to the heel. Honestly, it doesn't make a difference as long as you maintain a proper angle. Okay, so now I'm feeling the burr coming up on the other side, and now I'm gonna alternate. You can do 2 passes on one side, 2 passes on one side. Pressure is still in the 4 to 6 territory. And our goal here is to create the final burr, straight burr, that we're going to remove at the 3rd stage. All right, we're almost there. So you can see now that most of the burr is completely gone. We have a tiny bit of residual burr here and here. Right here, but this is fine. Now the 3rd, that's just water. Now the 3rd and final part is the stropping, which will start right away. So I like to start the stroke on the same grit stone and I finish, but what we're going to do now is really extremely light passes, same angle, and we do that with this you know, it's not even one, it's like the weight of the knife. And we just glide. And we do maybe 20 passes. Okay, so now we're done with the stropping on the stone. And I want to show you how that edge is very hard to show. Okay. You can see the difference now, right? What we had previously. We're going to continue what we just did on the stropping method on the stone. We'll just continue that on the finer grit. One thing I like to do, so you can see maybe there's still a little bit of tiny, you know, micro burr. One thing you could do is just like one time, take your knife and go against some wood. Technically, it's going to remove any loose particle that you have on the edge without damaging the edge too much. I'm going to take my stropping compound and I'm going to load my leather. Okay, so we load it good. That's enough. And what we'll do is we'll just do what we did, same angle, trailing stroke. And this is really to give the final polish to the microtip to the apex. So you can see the paste is getting colored. That means we are leaving material on the strop itself. We're getting a nice polished look. And now if you feel, you know, when you're done with the 1000 grit and you're testing the blade have a bite to it, okay? It has a very grippy feeling, right? Like it wanna cut. So let's see what we have here. So you can see now the knife overall is much shinier, more polish. It has a very strong, actually if I can show you here first, a very strong mirror finish, almost. Okay, and under the microscope, look at that edge. This is where I should show you how sharp this knife is. But I'm not a hairy guy, so you know, I don't have much hair. I store my testosterone somewhere else. So we can do the paper cut test. And yes, okay, it's cut. It's cut pretty well. So that's it. We've reviewed the theory. The burr is your friend until it's not. We covered the gear. Just a simple whetstone, 220 and 1000 grit is enough. I don't think you need more than 1000 grit for hunting knives. Yes, for Japanese chef knives you can go much higher, but for hunting knives, you know, we're not looking for that slicing tomato capacity. We're looking for that edge retention, and we have a steeper angle, right? So we have a 17 to 20 degree angle. Bushcraft knives have, you know, 20 to up to 30 degree angle, and because it's, you know, more like an axe or for chopping, you want the best, you want the more material behind your apex to maintain it. So for hunting, I think the nice balance is between the 17 to 20 degrees angle. And for knives, you know, some can be very expensive. I think the Mora knives are well balanced. The Garberg is a little bit more expensive, but you know, some hunting knives can really carve out your budget if you're not too careful. So that's how I sharpen my knives. There is no cutting corner around it, just do it properly. I hope this video wasn't too dull. And that's it, folks. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.